What is up, guys, and welcome to Phase 3 of my Spider-Man Cinematic Universe. If you haven't seen the Two-Face before, be sure to check it out. With that out of the way, let's get straight into this. The first film in Phase 3 will be a Black Cat film, the final one of Felicia's trilogy, and be called Black Cat: The Long Way Home. This will have an end feel to it, that this is very much the end of Felicia's journey ever since she started out way back in Phase 1. Throughout this film, we see how Felicia wants to stop. She has completed everything in her career as being the Black Cat, and now she's ready for something more and wants to move on. However, she's pulled back into the line of duty when a new group of super criminals called the UFOs start terrorizing the city. Silver Sable is revealed to have already been trying to track the UFOs, as they've stolen some government technology that she has been trying to protect. As Sable in this film has really also grown as a character, however her arc still has much to be done apart from Felicia's. With Sable's help, Felicia and her go on one last mission to defeat the UFOs and save New York. This will also be the only film where Wilson Fisk doesn't feature as a main antagonist, as he is now on the back step as they defeated him back in Phase 2. But after the fall of the UFOs, it will be revealed the leader behind them is a man known as Baron Zemo, who has stolen special technology and is planning to use it for his own organization, Hydra, which gets the attention of Nick Fury, and we get a small cameo from Agent Venom. However, after the UFOs are defeated, Felicia hangs up the cowl and Sable goes to join S.H.I.E.L.D. The next film will bring things back around, focusing on the character of Peter Parker, and it will be called Spider-Man: Moving On. It will be picking up from the events of Phase 2, and after everything that happened with Harry, Peter is still trying to recover. This film will be Peter's first adult years, as after finishing college, he has to now manage different responsibilities, and also MJ will have a big role in this film as Peter's trying to figure out how they're going to spend the rest of their lives. This film heavily shows that Spider-Man now has new responsibilities to manage and that things are a lot harder. Peter will be tempted to sink back into his old ways, but he must tell himself that he has to be strong for MJ and the love they have for each other. The villain of this film will be a master spy called the Chameleon, who has been impersonating Spider-Man and framing him for various crimes. Dimitri lived on the streets at a young age and was eventually recruited to be a master mercenary by the KGB. So Dimitri saw it as an opportunity to take down Spider-Man to get the medicine to save his father. Eventually, things will seem too dire, as the Chameleon is ruining Spider-Man's reputation, and Peter doesn't know how to manage his responsibilities. But he will overcome the arc by defeating the Chameleon and sending him to prison, ending his arc in this film. It will be a rehash story, Peter having to learn everything that he didn't know before because of everything that happened, but now Spider-Man is back. The next film in Phase 3 will be called Agent Venom: New Ways to Live. Following the tease in Phase 2, Harry was recruited into the military by Nick Fury and is seeking redemption from his actions. S.H.I.E.L.D. will make a deal with him that if he continues using the symbiote to carry out missions for them, Harry will get a clean slate and not have to go to prison. Despite all the bad things he's done, this will be Harry's redemption story and be a way for him to make up for all his actions. The symbiote will also be a separate character in this, channeling what Harry feels and helping him overcome all these fears about not being able to make up for his past crimes. It will also be revealed that S.H.I.E.L.D. has been studying the symbiote for a long time and want to mass produce it but never went through with it. Harry is their first test subject, and that's why they're doing it. At the end of the show, we also get a cameo from Eddie Brock, who is a reporter trying to get quotes on Agent Venom, but Harry will of course ignore him. The next film will be simply called Sable and be about Silver Sable's story and how she can manage without Felicia. After joining S.H.I.E.L.D., it is clear how close she and Felicia were and that they had something special. However, now that she's on her own, Sable must learn these skills and how to manage in her new lifestyle without Felicia always there to help her. It will also be revealed now that S.H.I.E.L.D. has been trying to get help from Sable ever since they crossed paths before, and we learn that Harry has lost control of the Venom symbiote and that Agent Venom has gone rogue, so Harry will once again go into villainy. Sable will break through to him in this film, and will spend most of the film trying to get to Harry. I imagine this film being very similar to a spy thriller and a mystery. After the symbiote is removed from Harry, it crawls on Eddie Brock, bonding with him, as we end this film on a cliffhanger and moving into the next one. We go to the next film, which is called Venom. This film will be about Eddie Brock trying to live his life as a reporter with the symbiote bonded to him. I imagine this film being very similar to the Tom Hardy movie with the dynamic of the symbiote. Eddie wants to live his life, but later he learns to accept Venom as they are on the run from S.H.I.E.L.D. We learn a lot about the symbiote in this film, that it never felt accepted with Harry or with Peter, who both rejected it, but Eddie accepts its gift, creating a bond for the two of them. The film ends with Venom managing to hold off S.H.I.E.L.D., and eventually at the end, Eddie retreats to New York when something happens. The symbiote reproduces and creates a red. This brings us to our story in the next film, Spider-Man: Web of Shadows. Peter, throughout this film, will be questioning his life's choices, wondering if he can really do Spider-Man forever, or how long he has to be a hero from. With his relationship with MJ getting stronger, this film will push him to his limits. The main antagonist of this film will be Cletus Cassidy, a mass serial killer who will eventually get the symbiote and become Carnage. Carnage will be a unique villain for this film because he will have no motivations other than to cause as much chaos and destruction as possible. He will be very similar to the Joker from the Batman universe. And in this part of the film, Peter and Eddie will meet for the first time, and they won't get off well, as Peter has had bad experiences with Venom twice and is not keen to trust him. However, they both agree that Carnage is the bigger threat, and if they really want him stopped, they must put aside their differences to stop the bigger menace. Cletus will decide he must break Spider-Man fully, so using the symbiote's memories, he will find Aunt May and kill her. He does this because he wants Peter to be destroyed completely. He knows that Peter will keep trying to beat him unless he is shattered completely, and it works. Peter and Eddie will lose as their emotions get the better of him, and it will be similar to Infinity War as the villains win. At the end of the film, Carnage learns how to mass-produce symbiotes on a cellular level. The next film rolls around as the final film and project of Phase 3 called Spider-Man: Maximum Carnage. This film will wrap up all the storylines and show if Peter can do this. Can he really fight an army of Carnage symbiotes and help save New York? The symbiotes will start taking over the city, and it will have an apocalyptic sort of vibe. How it's a zombie apocalypse and it's an invasion, and even the government and the military get involved in this film. Peter, at the beginning of the film, will ask Doc Ock for help. Despite their past history, he needs Otto's science mind, which will come into play in later phases, as he uses his neural pathways to devise a cure and use those resources to save the people of New York. This film will feel like a big event, how losing is not an option, and how the heroes are the last line of defense. As the government's been taken out, everything has been gone except for Spider-Man and his allies. At the center of everything is Carnage, which is infecting New York on a mass level. There will be several scenes where MJ and Peter are contemplating leaving because things are getting so bad, but Peter convinces her that they can't quit now and that they must stay. The symbiotes continue getting out of control, and even Felicia is infected. Even though she was in retirement, the symbiotes are getting everyone, turning her into a symbiote black cat. This gets personal for Sable, as she does not want to lose Felicia despite that they broke up. After she retired, Sable still has some feelings for her, and she is angry with Eddie, saying that after this, she is definitely not done with him. But Peter convinces them that none of this matters. All that matters is finding and getting to the bottom of this mess. They split up into two teams, and eventually Sable and Eddie managed to tell Nick Fury that they need to get the antidote to do this, which means they'll need all the symbiote samples. Nick says they can't risk losing the assets, but Sable says it's not worth the risk if the city is destroyed. So eventually the day is saved, but Peter and Eddie have a final showdown with Carnage and defeat him. At the end of this phase, Peter is contemplating giving up being Spider-Man. MJ tells him she is pregnant.